Hello students, welcome back to today's video lesson. Today we are going to start the video lesson for class 11 computer science, and this chapter is also available for class 11 IP also. So the first chapter is computer system and organization. So today we are going to start the video lesson. Let us start the chapter. So when we talk about computer, सो बेसिकली व्हाट डज़ इट मीन. जब भी हम बात करते हैं कंप्यूटर की, तो कंप्यूटर से हम क्या समझते हैं. तो जब से आपने कंप्यूटर पढ़ना शुरू किया होगा बच्चों, आपने कंप्यूटर का एक ही डेफिनेशन जाना होगा कि इट इज़ एन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइस विच टेक्स इनपुट, डज सम प्रोसेसिंग एंड गिव्स आउटपुट. ओके, सो ये जो डेफिनेशन है वो आपका बचपन से चला रहा होगा, जो आपने सुना होगा. बट द मेन थिंग इज़ the main disadvantage of computer is that it does not have any decision making power. So it is having a zero IQ. So all the processes that are being performed by computer is totally based on the instructions given to it by the user. So basically we can have the definition that it is an electronic device under the control of instructions stored in its memory that can be accept data, process the data according to specified rules, produce information and store the information for future use. So this may be the complete definition of computer. So in this particular video we are going to discuss something more about the computer, its functional components, and what are the meaning of computer system. So all these things we are going to discuss today. So let us proceed to the next slide. So here first let us discuss what is the meaning of data and information. So when we are talking about data means pretty raw facts and figures. Raw facts and figures means in our day-to-day life, everywhere we are having the example of IPO cycle. IPO cycle means input processing output cycle. It means first we have to give the input, then some process is going on, and then we are getting the output. Take an example of juicer. Okay, what we are doing, we are giving input in the form of fruits, then we are getting the juice in the form of output, and some processing is going on between the machine by the juicer. So in everywhere in our day-to-day life we are observing so many examples of IPO cycle itself. So here what the input we are providing to our system is known as data. Data are raw material, okay, and whatever output we are getting back from the computer is known as information. So alternatively we can say that information is processed data. Once the data is being processed, we are getting the output in the form of information. So here we can say that whatever goes in the computer is data, and what comes out of them is information. So input is data and output is information, and the process of turning data in information is known as information processing cycle. और ये जो प्रोसेस है जो इनपुट को आउटपुट में कन्वर्ट कर रहा है, इसको हम क्या कहते हैं? IPO साइकिल, इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोसेसिंग साइकिल. ठीक है. So here we can see what are the different function of a particular computer. एक कंप्यूटर के basic important functions क्या हो सकते हैं? तो these are the 5 important basic functions of computer which comprises all the functions of particular system. ठीक है. So basically what it does, it takes data as input, it stores data and instructions, it processes those stored data, it generates the output, and overall it control all the above 4 steps. हमें पता है हमारा कंप्यूटर सिस्टम क्या क्या काम करता है. वो डेटा एज अ इनपुट लेता है, उसे स्टोर करता है, उसके बाद वो उसे प्रोसेस करता है, फिर हमें हमारा आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस करके देता है, और इतना करने के अलावा ऊपर की ये जितने भी प्रोसेसेस हुए हैं उसे ओवरऑल कंट्रोल भी करता है. तो अभी हम पढ़ेंगे कि एक कंप्यूटर के कौन कौन से डिफरेंट पार्ट्स होते हैं और हर एक पार्ट का क्या रोल होता है. जितने भी कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं उनके अपने अपने कौन कौन से अलग अलग रोल्स होते हैं. सो दैट वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस टुडे. तो जब हम बात करते बेटे, अभी फर्स्ट स्लाइड में हमने पढ़ा कंप्यूटर, एंड नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस कंप्यूटर सिस्टम. तो जब बात आ जाती है सिस्टम की, दैट मीन्स इट कंप्राइजेज ऑफ बोथ हार्डवेयर एंड सॉफ्टवेयर. जब सिस्टम टर्म ऐड हो गया इसका मतलब दिस इज कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ बोथ हार्डवेयर एंड सॉफ्टवेयर. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ हार्डवेयर? मुझे लगता है ये बहुत लोगों को पता होगा. हार्डवेयर आर द फिजिकल कंपोनेंट्स, वट एवर मशीनरी पार्ट वी आर seeing are hardware part, and the software are the set of instructions, the set of programs that we can't see, that are running behind in our computer, that are being executed, are known as software. So software is a set of programs or instructions, and both this hardware and software together makes the computer system to function. So when we are talking about computer system, it means it is combination of both hardware and software. जब हम बात करते हैं कंप्यूटर सिस्टम की, इसका मतलब है उसमें हार्डवेयर और सॉफ्टवेयर दोनों ही आ जाते हैं. So if we will discuss about the basic computer organization, here you can see that the functional component of computer can be divided into basically into three categories, that is input device, which takes input, which takes data, and the central processing unit, the brain of our computer, and the output device, the information that we are getting from our output device. So basically central processing unit is again having different functional components, and those functional components are control unit, arithmetic logic unit, and memory unit. Apart from that, we are having registers also. So let us discuss one by one what are the different components and what are their roles and responsibilities. So here the first one is input unit, and as the name itself signifies that input unit means these devices are totally responsible to take input from the user. For example, I am writing something, and then I am providing my input through keyboard. Similarly, whatever in data you are providing through your computer through device, and those devices are known as input device. So a device through which data and programs from the outside world enter the computer system is known as input unit. And similarly, whatever result we are getting back from the computer to the outside world are through output unit. So output unit are the devices through which results stored in the computer memory are made available outside the computer system. So we are having so many examples of input and output unit, and we are going to discuss some examples of those IO devices as well. So here we can see that some of the input devices are here. So basically input devices can send data or information to a computer or another device. So examples may be your keyboard, mouse, scanner. Scanner are used to take the input in the form of document, file or image. Then OMR, OCR, MICR, microphone, webcam, it sends the captured images to a computer. Then graphics tablet is there that we are using to draw something or to write something using our hand. Then trackballs, barcode reader, and joystick. So here some of the most commonly known input devices are here written. So the question may come that write short note on this input device or that input device. So you must know about those input devices as well. So let us see what are the different output devices. So basically the role of output devices is to convert the signal from computer to the output devices and send that output to the outside world. So here a device that can receive data from computer or another device and create output with that data is called output device. Some of the examples of output devices are monitor. Okay, just now you are seeing your monitor, and which acts as your output screen where you are getting the display. And the next output device can be your speaker, where you are receiving sound signal. Whatever I am conveying to you, you are getting my sound using the output device speaker. Okay, so next one can be your projector, which gets data from computer and displays or project the same information onto a screen or to a wall. So these are the some most commonly used output devices. But some devices are also there which can be used as both input and output devices. So let us discuss some devices which can be used as both input and for output purposes. So let us have these devices. Now these devices are capable of receiving data from users, as well as this can send data to another devices also. So these are known as IO devices, okay, input output devices. So let us have some examples. USB drive is the best example. Most commonly used IO device is USB drive. Facsimile, which is mostly known as fax machine. Then modems is used to transmit and receive data from one computer to another computer or other devices using telephone lines. Then our CD drives, DVD drives, then touch screen, and then headsets is having both microphone and speaker. So microphone can be used as your input device and speaker can be used as your output device. So headset is IO device. So let us start the composition of our central processing unit. So as I told previously bete, that central processing unit is again having some components like arithmetic logic unit, then control unit and registers. So basically arithmetic logic unit performs bete what? It is the main brain of computer. ये क्या कहलाता है? ये कहलाता है कंप्यूटर का ब्रेन कहलाता है, क्योंकि जितने भी कैलकुलेशंस होते हैं वो सारे के सारे हमारे सेंट्रल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट में ही होते हैं. तो arithmetic logic unit means what? Which type of operation are being performed under this unit? तो यहाँ पे arithmetic operations भी perform होते हैं और logical operations भी perform होते हैं. arithmetic operations हम सबको पता है बेटे, mathematical operations जितने भी होते हैं वो आ जाते हैं हमारे arithmetic operations में. and about logical operations जिनके result हमारे आते हैं true और false में, and or not, ये सारे जितने भी operations हैं, these operations come under logical operations. Again ALU is having some special storage units. Those are known as registers, and that are being used for temporary storage. Okay, so whatever calculations are being done, the temporary results are being stored in registers. And what is the role of control unit? It organizes the computer as a single unit. The name itself signifies bit a control unit. It control all the things, means it will control the flow of data from input device to CPU. It will control the flow of information from CPU to output device, and it will take care of all the things that is going under CPU. So that's why it is known as control unit. So next we will discuss about memory unit bete. Now it provides storage, it provides working space, it provides the capacity for all the files and information we need, and it provides also the amount of RAM installed in the computer. Okay, so basically when we are going to purchase a new system, even a new smartphone, we are keeping in mind that what is the storage capacity of that particular device. It may be your memory, it may be your RAM, it may be related to your storage space. Okay, so this is the again one of the most important component of our system. So here memory units are there bete. Here I have written from kilobyte, but when we will talk about the smallest unit is bit, and 8 bits makes 1 byte, and from 1 byte started kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, yottabyte. So here it is written that 2 to the power 10. Why 2? Because here we are dealing with binary digit, and binary digit may be either 1 or it may be 0. That's why it is 2 to the power 10. So every successor will be 2 to the power 10 of the previous memory unit. So you can remember it like this one. So here it is given what are the different types of memory. So when we are talking about different types of memory, here becomes that it may be our primary memory, it may be our secondary memory. Primary memory is also known as main memory, and secondary memory is also known as auxiliary memory. So main memory can be again classified into RAM and ROM, and then secondary memory we are having so many examples: CD, DVD, hard disk drive, memory card, and so many other pen drive, so many other examples are there. So let us discuss one by one that what is the meaning of primary memory. So come to the next slide, but a primary memory. In technical terms, we can say that the processor, the CPU, works directly with primary memory. Okay, it doesn't work directly with our secondary memory. Whatever data, whatever instruction is needed for processor, those data and those instructions are stored in primary memory. Now primary memory can be RAM as well as ROM. Okay, so we have to discuss how RAM and ROM are different from each other. So first of all, you must know that primary memory means here the processor works directly with the primary memory. Now let us come to discuss what is RAM and what is ROM. So RAM stands for random access memory bete, and random access memory means what? We can access the storage, we can access the file stored in RAM in any random manner. No need to access the data sequentially. And another important thing about RAM is that it is volatile in nature. Now what is the meaning of volatile? Volatile means once we stop supplying power to it, the RAM will lost its data. So as soon as power is there, it will have the data. Once the power is switched off, it will lose its data. So basically RAM is having RAM takes basically the processor takes data directly from the RAM. तो जब भी हम बात करते हैं बेटे, हम कोई भी प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं या हम कोई भी डेटा रखते हैं, किसी भी फाइल के ऊपर काम करना जब हम शुरू करते हैं, बेसिकली वो डेटा हमारा रैम में स्टोर होता है जब तक कि आप फाइल को सेव नहीं कर देते हो. वंस यू सेव इट देन इट गोज़ टू आवर हार्ड डिस्क ड्राइव. लेकिन जब तक आप सेव नहीं करते हो, ये हमारा सारा का सारा काम कहाँ चलते रहता है? रैम में चलते रहता है. और अगर इस बीच आपकी पावर सप्लाई चली जाती है और आप अपने फाइल को सेव नहीं करते हो, तो वो क्या होता है? वो डेटा हमारा लूज़ हो जाता है. वी लॉस्ट आवर डेटा. क्यों? क्योंकि रैम में जो डेटा होते हैं, दोज डेटा आर वोलाटाइल इन नेचर. वो तब तक ही रहते हैं जब तक उसमें पावर सप्लाई होता है. ठीक है. तो नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी जो होता है बेटे, रोम. रोम का मतलब हो गया रीड ओनली मेमोरी. नाम से ही पता चल रहा है कि रीड ओनली मेमोरी मीन्स वी कांट चेंज द कंटेंट. तो अगर वी कांट चेंज द कंटेंट, देन व्हाट टाइप ऑफ डेटा, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन आर बीइंग स्टोर्ड देयर. तो जब भी हम बात करते हैं बेटे, जब हम अपने सिस्टम को ऑन करते हैं तो आप देखते होंगे कि कुछ बूटिंग प्रोसेस चल रहा है. सम process is going on which is known as booting. तो बेसिकली रोम में वो बायोस इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर्ड होते हैं जो एट द टाइम ऑफ इंस्टॉलेशन मैन्युफैक्चरर के द्वारा ही वो स्टोर किए जाते हैं. तो इसलिए उसे हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते. यस, इट कैन बी एक्सेस करने से ही उसके एग्जीक्यूशन होते हैं, बट द कंटेंट कैन नॉट बी चेंज्ड. तो ये मेमोरी वैसी है, इसका नेचर क्या है? नॉन वोलाटाइल है. ये पावर सप्लाई जाने के बाद भी इसका डेटा इरेज नहीं होता है. सो the third category is also there, that is cache memory. Cache memory is extremely fast memory and which acts as buffer between RAM and CPU. अब इसकी ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ी बेटे? RAM और CPU की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ी? तो इसकी ज़रूरत हमें इसलिए पड़ती है क्योंकि RAM और CPU के काम करने का जो स्पीड है वो एक दूसरे से मैच नहीं करता है. CPU is generally faster than RAM. तो व्हाट हैपन्स कि CPU जब डेटा और इंस्ट्रक्शन का वेट करते हैं और RAM जब तक वो डेटा और इंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोवाइड करता है, तब तक CPU को काफ़ी टाइम तक आइडल बैठना पड़ता है. सो इस चीज़ को अवॉइड करने के लिए RAM और CPU के बीच में एक कैश मेमोरी होता है जो उस तरह के डेटा को स्टोर करता है जो फ्रिक्वेंटली यूज़ किया जाता है, जिसे बार बार जिसकी ज़रूरत पड़ती है. तो RAM से उसे बार बार ना लाने के बजाय उसको हम कैश मेमोरी में देख सकते हैं. तो कैश memory can be again of two type. If it is inbuilt with processor, then it is known as L1 cache. If it is outside the processor, it is known as L2 cache. So now we will discuss what are the different categories of RAM. Now RAM is again of two categories, that is static RAM and dynamic RAM. So in previously we were using with a static RAM, which offers better performance than dynamic RAM, because dynamic RAM needs to be refreshed periodically when in use, while static RAM does not. So DRAM needs to be refreshed frequently, but SRAM does not. But still we are using DRAM, DDRAM because SRAM is more expensive than the DRAM. Okay. So RAM can be categorized as SRAM and DRAM. SRAM stands for static RAM and DRAM stands for dynamic RAM. Now let us see the classification, the category of our ROM. Okay. First let us discuss this one. ROM can be again categorized as programmable ROM, programmable read-only memory, then E-programmable read-only memory, then EE, then electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, and the second one is erasable programmable read-only memory. So let us go through the definition. When we are talking about EPROM, it means it can be modified only once by a user. The content can be erased only once. That's why it is known as programmable read-only memory. While EPROM, which stands for erasable PROM, that can be erased by the help of some ultraviolet rays. And the last one, EEPROM. It means that content, the ROM can be erased and can be reprogrammed. The content can be erased with the help of some electric signals. So these were all about the different categories of RAM and ROM. So RAM and ROM both comes under our primary memory and main memory. Okay. So let us have the next one, that is secondary memory. So when we are talking about secondary memory, it is again can be divided into tape drives and disk drives. So this division is done on the basis of the type of accessing. Type of accessing means we can access the data in random access way or sequentially access. The data can be accessed in randomly or it can be accessed sequentially. Now what is the meaning of random access and sequential access? Now let us discuss. So if you have seen the cassettes that were being used in the tape recorder, then those cassettes we were listening to the music, listening to the songs one by one. If we want to skip some songs in between, we have to press next like that. It means we can't jump to that particular song. We have to go through each song in between. So that is known as sequential access. But if we can jump directly through any particular location, then that is known as random access, which we can do nowadays. So tape drives are having your sequential access, by disk drive, which is having floppy, CD, DVD, hard disk drive, pen drive, those are having random access technique. So floppy disks are now outdated. Okay, now we are using other devices. Okay, so disk drives are having our random access technique. So this were all about the hardware components. Now we are going to discuss software. So to make all the hardware functioning, we need software. Without software, our hardware is not going to work. So what is the meaning of software? It is an organized instructions code written by programmers using any of various special computer languages for specific purpose. हम किसी पर्पस के लिए कुछ पीस ऑफ कोड लिखते हैं तो उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? सॉफ्टवेयर कहते हैं. तो अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे बेटे, ये सॉफ्टवेयर कैन बी डिवाइडेड इनटू फॉलोइंग कैटेगरीज. व्हाट आर दिस कैटेगरीज? First, software can be divided into system software, utility software, application software. Okay, and then again system software can be divided into operating system, language translators, and language translators can be divided into compiler, assembler, interpreter. And then again coming back to application software, it can be divided into general purpose and then customized software. So let us come to the system software first. सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर, नाम से ही पता चल रहा है बेटे ये वैसे सॉफ्टवेयर हैं जिनकी ज़रूरत हमारे सिस्टम को है, जिनके बगैर हमारा सिस्टम काम नहीं करने वाला है. ठीक है, तो वैसे सॉफ्टवेयर को हम कहते हैं सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर, और जिसके अंडर में हमारे आते हैं ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम. आप सबको पता है अगर हमारे सिस्टम में ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम ना हो तो हम अपने सिस्टम को फंक्शनिंग नहीं बना सकते हैं. तो जो दो एग्जाम्पल जो मोस्ट कंपोनेंट है, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट है सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर के, वो है हमारे ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम और लैंग्वेज ट्रांसलेटर्स. तो हम अभी डिस्कस करेंगे कि इनका क्या मतलब है. सो अगर हम बात करें सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर की बेटे, तो ये इट कंट्रोल्स द बेसिक फंक्शंस ऑफ अ कंप्यूटर. अभी मैंने बताया कि ये जितने भी बेसिक फंक्शंस होते हैं कंप्यूटर के, दिस इज़ कंट्रोल्ड बाय सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर. और पीछे जो भी चीज़ें चल रही हैं, जितने भी कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोग्राम चल रहे हैं, वो यूज़र से वो क्या करता है, हाइड करके रखता है. और एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर, सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर अगर ना हो तो हमारा सिस्टम काम नहीं करेगा बेटे, लेकिन अगर एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं हो तो नो डाउट हमारा सिस्टम काम करेगा। बट एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर हम कब यूज़ करते हैं? एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर यूज़ करते हैं बेटे हम अपने रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से यूज़ करते हैं, लेकिन सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर हमें यूज़ करना ही करना है, उसके बगैर हमारा सिस्टम काम नहीं करने वाला, ठीक है। और यूटिलिटी सॉफ्टवेयर एक ऐसे सॉफ्टवेयर से, इसे हम कह सकते हैं कि ये एक ऐसा एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर है जो कि यूज़ होता है हमारे सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर को सही ढंग से काम करने के लिए, ये हेल्प करता है, ठीक है। तो लेट अस स्टार्ट अगेन इन डिटेल्स सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर। सिस्टम सॉफ्टवेयर के अंदर अगर हम बात करेंगे तो सबसे पहले हम डिस्कस करेंगे उसमें ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की। तो यू कैन सी दैट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का रोल क्या है बेटे। ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की जब हम बात करते हैं तो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम एक्ट्स एज एन इंटरफेस बिटवीन यूजर एंड हार्डवेयर। इफ यू कैन सी द डायग्राम हेयर बेटे, हेयर यू कैन सी हेयर इज आवर सिस्टम, here is operating system and here we are the user. So once operating system is installed then only we can install any other application software. जब तक हमारे सिस्टम में ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम नहीं होंगे तब तक हम एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो सबसे पहले हमें सिस्टम में ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का रखना ज़रूरी है। तो ये हार्डवेयर और यूज़र के बीच में इंटरफेस का काम करता है। जैसे मैं अभी आपको जो बोल रही हूँ, जो मैं अपनी स्क्रीन में दिखा रही हूँ, वो आप सुन पा रहे हो तभी आप समझ पा रहे हो। इफ़ आई विल रिमेन आइडल तो आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा कि मैं अपनी कौन सी बात आप तक पहुँचाने जा रही हूँ। तो इसका मतलब मेरी जो आवाज़ है वो यहाँ पे एक इंटरफेस का काम कर रही है। तो जब भी दो लोगों में इंटरेक्शन होगा तो कोई ना कोई बीच में इंटरफेस चाहिए होता है इंटरेक्शन के लिए, कम्युनिकेशन के लिए। तो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम वही रोल प्रोवाइड करता है विच provides interface between user and hardware, ठीक है। तो let us have the quick functions of operating system. It manages all the things. It manages processor, it manages memory, it manages device, it manages storage, it manages application, and the important one that we have discussed just now, it provides user interface, okay। तो प्रोसेसर में कब कौन सा जॉब डालना है, कौन सा टास्क डालना है, कब कौन सा प्रोसेस का एग्जीक्यूशन होगा, ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर टेक केयर बाय ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम। मेमोरी में को कब एलोकेट करना है, कब उसे फ्री करना है, ये चीज़ें भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है हमारे ओएस की। डिवाइस मैनेजमेंट मतलब हमारे इनपुट आउटपुट जितने भी डिवाइसेस हैं उनको मैनेज करना, उनको कंट्रोल करना, अगेन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ आवर ओएस। स्टोरेज मैनेजमेंट हमारा प्रोग्राम जब एग्जीक्यूट हो उसको प्रॉपर स्टोरेज वर्किंग स्पेस प्रोवाइड करना, अगेन दीज आर द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ आवर स्टोरेज मैनेजमेंट। देन यूजर इंटरफेस ऑलरेडी वी हैव डिस्कस्ड। So here some types of operating system are there. It is not in our syllabus but you can go through this, that we are having single user single task operating system. Example is TOS. Single user multitask operating system, example is Windows. Multi-user operating system, example is Unix, Linux. Multi-processing, where we are having multiple processor, then example may be again Linux, Unix. Embedded operating system means in our microwave, in our washing machine we are having embedded operating system. And distributed operating system, where we have to take the help of all the above operating system, okay. So here we are having some categories of operating system. So now come to the another important thing, language processor. So again it is under system software. So language processor can be of three types: assembler, compiler, interpreter. Now let me explain what is the need of language processor. But suppose I understand only Hindi and you understand only Oriya, then how we will communicate with each other? We will need some mediator to convert my language for you and to convert your language for me. Similarly here the language processors are doing the same job, because computer is going to understand only the language of 0 and 1, but we are writing our program in higher level programming language. It may be C, it may be C++, it may be Java, it may be Python, anything. So those languages, those program written in the particular languages must be converted to machine level language, must be converted to binary language. So the processor, some language processors are needed for that purpose. So earlier we were using beta assembly language to do the programming. So the language processor which was used to convert assembly language to machine level language is known as assembler. But after that we were using high level language like C, C++, Java, Python. So now the language processors being used are either compiler or interpreter. Now what is the meaning of compiler and interpreter? Suppose I want to interact with you, but just now I told you that I understand only Hindi and you understand only Odia. Then some mediator is there which can interpret my language to you and your language to me. So suppose I have I narrate 5 to 10 lines, and what he will do, he will convert all those 10 lines in Odia to you. If I have done some mistake, then at last what he will do, he will try to find out the error. He will tell me that at particular line this error was that one, and then it will rectify it, and then it will translate it to you. So that will be the work of compiler, means it will convert all the code to machine language in one session. Okay, and if suppose I have narrated 10 lines in Hindi, and in the second very line I have done some mistake, some error is there, then what the mediator will do is he will stop me there, he will ask me to rectify it, and then he will proceed the translation. So if line by line conversion is going on, then it is known as interpreter, and if the conversion is going in the one go, in one complete session, then it is the job of compiler. So that is the difference between compiler and interpreter. Both is going to convert high level language to machine level language, but the technique is different. Okay, so utility software, just now I told you that this utility software makes our system efficient to work, and examples are our antivirus devices which keeps our system clean, then disk cleanup which assists users in freeing up disk space. So many utility softwares are there. And again, if we will come to application software, but just now I told you that application softwares are those softwares which are being used as per our requirement. Okay, now it can be categorized into two categories also, general purpose and customized software. Let us have an example of our general purpose, general store and medicine store. तो इन जनरल स्टोर वी कैन हैव एनी टाइप ऑफ मटेरियल. ओके, जब हम जनरल स्टोर में जाते हैं तो हम उसमें वैरायटी ऑफ चीज़ें हमारे पास अवेलेबल होती हैं, लेकिन अगर हम मेडिसिन स्टोर में जाएंगे तो वहाँ पे हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करते कि हमें वहाँ पे ग्रॉसरी का सामान मिले. क्यों? क्योंकि मेडिसिन स्टोर एक स्पेसिफिक पर्पस के लिए ही बनाया गया है. लेकिन जनरल स्टोर में जब हम जाते हैं तो वहाँ पे हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि वहाँ पे हमें वैरायटी ऑफ चीज़ें मिल सकती हैं. तो सिमिलरली जब हम यहाँ पे बात करते हैं, एक तो एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर का मतलब ही हो गया बेटे कि वैसे सॉफ्टवेयर जिसको किसी स्पेसिफिक पर्पस के लिए डेवलप किया गया है. अब इसमें भी जनरल पर्पस क्या होता है और कस्टमाइज सॉफ्टवेयर क्या होता है. तो जनरल पर्पस मतलब वैसे सॉफ्टवेयर जिसको कोई भी यूज़र यूज़ कर सकता है, जैसे वर्ड हो गए, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड हो गए, पावर पॉइंट हो गए, पेंट ब्रश हो गए, ठीक है, एक्सेल हो गए. तो ये सारे सॉफ्टवेयर हैं जिनको कोई भी यूज़र्स यूज़ कर सकता है आसानी से. तो दीज कैन बी कम अंडर द कैटेगरी जनरल पर्पस. बट व्हाट अबाउट कस्टमाइज सॉफ्टवेयर? कस्टमाइज सॉफ्टवेयर मतलब मेडिसिन स्टोर में वही जाएगा जिसे मेडिसिन की ज़रूरत है, जिसे ग्रॉसरी की ज़रूरत है, वो मेडिसिन स्टोर में जाके क्या करेगा. तो सिमिलरली कस्टमाइज सॉफ्टवेयर कुछ लिमिटेड स्पेसिफिक यूज़र्स के लिए ही बनाए गए हैं बेटे. जैसे अगर हम बात कर ले बैंकिंग सॉफ्टवेयर, बैंक में जो सॉफ्टवेयर्स यूज़ होते हैं उसको हम अपने घर के सिस्टम में डाल के क्या करेंगे, हमारे लिए वो किसी काम का नहीं है क्योंकि वो बैंकिंग सेक्टर के लिए बनाए गए हैं. अगर हम बात करेंगे टिकट बुकिंग सिस्टम की, ठीक है, होटल मैनेजमेंट में जो सॉफ्टवेयर्स यूज़ हो रहे हैं, मतलब वो स्पेसिफिक लिमिटेड यूज़र्स के लिए बनाए गए हैं, तो वो सारे सॉफ्टवेयर हमारे आ जाएंगे कस्टमाइज सॉफ्टवेयर के अंडर में. तो ये थे बेटे हमारे कुछ कैटेगरीज सॉफ्टवेयर्स एंड हार्डवेयर्स की. सो बेसिकली टुडे वी हैव डिस्कस्ड व्हाट इज़ कंप्यूटर, व्हाट इज़ डेटा इंफॉर्मेशन, what are the different components of a computer, what is computer system, what are the different categories of hardware and software. So hope you have understood this one. This is the part 1 of this particular chapter. In the next week I will come with the second part of this particular chapter where we are going to discuss the mobile system as well as Boolean logic. So I hope you have understood this much. If you like my video, share it, subscribe it and like it. Thank you for watching bete. Take care.